Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Hair, Healthy You workshop, navigating hair loss and vasculitis. We're just giving a few minutes to let everybody trickle in here. I'm going to go ahead and launch our poll here. So as you're filtering in, if you wouldn't mind, you can go ahead and take the poll that's up on the screen. Let me know in the chat box at the below there if you can see the poll. Oh, I see some answers coming in here. What has been the most challenging part of dealing with hair loss? I see all the answers filtering in, so that makes me happy that you guys are joining and can see the poll and everybody can hear me. Go ahead and type in the chat box too where you're tuning in from today. So I'm in Arizona, and my name is Noelle, by the way, and I am a board certified health coach, and I'm also a board member of the Vasculitis Foundation. And so I'm really happy to be here leading this session today. I see Florida, Ohio, Indiana. Hi, Kim from Virginia. Awesome. New Hampshire. Hi, Betsy. California. Ooh, Vancouver. I actually went to Vancouver before the end of the year last year. It was my first time there, and I absolutely loved it. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous city. So happy to see all of you here. So welcome to the Healthy Hair, Healthy You workshop. I'm going to go ahead and give it one more minute before I end the poll. But as we're waiting for people to fill in their answers there, I just want to say that hair loss is really something that many people experience, yet it's one of those things that's just not really talked about, right? And it's usually something that kind of comes on unexpected, and it could be so just frustrating. It's a frustrating part of living with vasculitis. And so I'm really excited to be here and honored, really, truly, to be here to be talking about such a particular subject. I know that, I have gone through my own personal journey, so you are definitely not alone. Most importantly, though, I'm really here to give you a lot of information and just steps that you can take to support your hair journey and just your overall health. I see some more Californias coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. It looks like a majority of you are dealing with the thinning hair and shedding hair and just the emotional impact and loss of confidence that comes with hair loss and being able to find the right products, all of those things, which is great because those are all things that we are going to be talking about today. So I will share the results of the poll. Can you all see the results of the poll? Just drop in the chat and let me know if you can see the answers. And if there's anything else that you're dealing with, the most challenging part of hair loss, if there's any other challenges or things that you're experiencing with that, feel free to also drop in the chat as well. All right, thanks, Dawn, and thank you, Debbie. I'm going to stop sharing the poll here. Okay, so as I said, my goal today, give you all the information, all the resources, most importantly, the reassurance that yes, you can move forward in your hair journey. So I want to run through today's introduction and just agenda. So as I mentioned, my name's Noelle. I was also diagnosed with GPA in 2018. If you've been on some of my previous webinars with the Living Well series, you've probably heard my story already. One thing with vasculitis that I quickly learned is that, yes, there are some really big symptoms that come with vasculitis, but it also affects so many other little aspects of our health, right? Everything from our body to our emotions, all of the things, and definitely it affects, for some of us, our hair. And so over the past 7 years, I have experienced all of the things with my hair as well. Hair thinning, lots of breakage, my hair getting dry, even I've noticed differences in my nails, in my eyelashes, all the things. And I have done a lot of experimenting, a lot of researching as a board certified health coach, and just trying all sorts of things. In 2022, I experienced a pretty bad relapse, which gave me the dreaded saddle nose. And then again, I relapsed in 2024. And both of those times meant that I had to go through more treatments, obviously, more medications, and just experienced a lot more struggles. Especially noticing things with my hair. And when I looked in the mirror, of course, it takes an emotional toll. It can be so frustrating to see those changes happening. So I definitely understand what it's like from the emotional aspect as well. I also want to just point out that today you can definitely use your chat box and ask any questions along the way as we talk through things. If you need to turn on your closed captioning, you can use the more button there along that toolbar in your Zoom window. If you click on more, you can turn on your closed captioning. We also have Jennifer. She's the education program manager here at the Vasculitis Foundation, and she'll be in the chat as well. So if you have any troubles with any of the Zoom technology, she can help you out in the chat. And of course, we also have a Q&A box as well. And you can find that in your toolbar, in the Zoom toolbar there as well. So I just wanted to mention those things. And if you wouldn't mind, just make sure you're on mute. So as I was mentioning, I've done a lot of research and all of the things, and talked to other healthcare professionals and just really learned how to support your hair health while managing vasculitis. I will point out that the things that we talk about today, they're not going to be quick fixes. As we know, there's no such thing as quick fixes, but there are a lot of things that we can do that can help, and I'm so happy to be here today. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover how vasculitis affects our hair health, the impact of steroids and other medications on our hair, what are the key nutrients and supplements that promote hair health and hair growth, stress management techniques to help reduce our hair loss, different scalp care routines for healthier, stronger hair, lifestyle changes that can aid in hair restoration and growth. And then I threw in a little bonus for today, which we're going to talk about nail health. So one other thing that I wanted to mention is that I will be sharing some specific products. If you would like to maybe have your cell phone ready so you can snap a picture of the slide, or perhaps a notebook that you can write down some of the names of the products, that would be helpful as well. But of course, I'm always happy to share my slides after the presentation as well, and I'll be sure to get those over to Jennifer after today's workshop, and then of course those the recording as well. So if there's anything that was shared, you'll be able to go back and view that information. So first things first, let's talk about how vasculitis affects hair health. So first up, we have reduced blood flow is going to equal weaker hair follicles. So we know that vasculitis causes inflammation in the blood vessels, which limits the circulation to our scalp. And what this does is it deprives our hair follicles of the nutrients that they need to grow strong and healthy. We also know that inflammation disrupts the hair growth cycle. When our immune system goes into overdrive, it mistakenly can attack the hair follicles as well. And this is going to lead to those things that we talked about earlier, the shedding, slower regrowth. You may notice that your hair is just growing a lot slower. Even sometimes people will experience some scalp sensitivity. We know that hair thinning and shedding and different texture changes can occur. Many people with vasculitis will note that they have just thinning out of their hair, or they may notice that shedding, especially after washing your hair and those things, that's due to that ongoing cycle of the inflammation. Of course, the medication side effects, which we'll talk about here shortly as well. The scalp may become more sensitive. You may notice even some redness or just some itchiness or even just some tenderness of the scalp. That can make some things a little more challenging as well. And hair loss can also be temporary or it can be very persistent, unfortunately. Everyone is kind of very bio-individual when it comes to this particular issue. It really depends on what does your disease activity look like, what have been your treatments, what is your overall health. Some people can experience, their hair recover pretty quickly, while others really can experience a lot more long-term changes that they're going to have to make, and just really being patient with it. So the next is we're going to talk about the impact of those medications, unfortunately, on hair health. We know that steroids and hair thinning kind of go hand in hand for a lot of people. So those medications, steroids, prednisone, these medications we know control the inflammation in our body, but they also disrupt, unfortunately, the natural hair growth cycle. Prednisone also affects our hormone levels. It increases the stress on our body, and all of those things can lead to the excessive shedding, the thinning, the difference in the hair texture, your hair becoming a little finer, drier, brittle. I have experienced all of those things throughout my 7 years of dealing with vasculitis myself. We also know that other medications, so immunosuppressants and chemotherapy type drugs used to manage our vasculitis, contribute to hair loss and slow regrowth as well. So things like methotrexate, things like cyclophosphamide, these can slow down the hair regrowth and lead to the shedding and the thinning. Now, not everyone experiences these things, but I'm assuming that if you're here today, and just based off our poll in the beginning of the workshop and some of the things that I've seen in the chat, that you definitely have experienced the hair loss in one way or, in one level or another. The good news is that in many of these cases, that once your vasculitis is stabilized and you've adjusted your treatments to find that kind of what I like to call the sweet spot, is kind of where I'm at today with my own health, that hair regrowth will happen. It is possible. Please don't give up any hope. So next, I want to move on to what you've all been waiting for, and that is really getting into what are the things that we can do for our hair regrowth. I like to call this a hair journey. So I invite you all today to join me on this hair journey. I am still on my hair journey to this day. So there are always things that I'm doing and trying to experiment with to see what works and what doesn't work. So first, we're going to talk about fueling your follicles with the right nutrients. So we know that healthy hair, first and foremost, it is going to start from the inside. So what we put into our bodies is just as important as the products we use on our hair. Healthy hair really is an inside job. It starts with the right nutrients. That makes all the difference in supporting your hair regrowth and your hair strength. We're going to talk about what I like to call the hair dream team. Okay, so these are going to be things like biotin, iron is very important, zinc, and vitamin D. So those 4 things right there, those supplements, are really the hair dream team. We'll talk about those more in detail here shortly. Iron is really crucial. It helps because if you have lower iron levels, which can contribute to hair thinning and breakage, which I did not know that I had very low iron levels until I got tested by one of my medical professionals that I work with, and my iron levels were dangerously low. And right away, that really helped to explain why I was dealing with this hair issue. And I later found out that oftentimes people with vasculitis can have low iron levels. Zinc plays a big role in just hair tissue repair and helping to keep the oil glands around our follicles really working properly. So zinc is really important. Vitamin D helps stimulate and new follicles. It helps the existing hair follicles. All of these are definitely important in our hair journey. So another thing we want to do, we want to eat our way to healthier hair, incorporating nutrient-dense foods into our diet. I always tell clients to, number one, we want to start first and foremost with what we're putting into our body. What kind of foods are we eating? So things like leafy greens, spinach, kale, really great things to throw in salads, smoothies. We know that things, and those things are really good for iron. So the iron you're going to get from those leafy greens. And I like to throw a bunch into a smoothie and mix in with other fruits and things like that. Some other things that are good for iron, you can do, eggs are really good for the biotin. So to supplement that biotin, nuts and seeds are packed with zinc. So you're going to get nuts and seeds. You'll get that zinc. And then fatty fishes are really, really good for the omega-3s. Those are really important as well. So omega-3s are going to they're kind of a big player. They're going to give you that shine and the strength in your hair. Really helps to keep your scalp hydrated and reduce any inflammation that could be slowing down your hair regrowth. I love to eat salmon. I try to do salmon a few times. Flax seeds are really good. I like to throw those in a smoothie or even sprinkle them on top of a salad for some extra omega-3s and just to add some crunch to my salad. Walnuts are really good for nourishing your scalp. So if you need a little snack, you can, munch on some of those walnuts as well. So remember that everything kind of starts with making sure that we're putting in all the good things into our body. And you don't have to overhaul your diet overnight, of course. Even just small little changes can really add up to give your hair that foundation that it needs to grow stronger over time. Oh, and PS too, this is a little PS. We want to make sure that if we want healthier hair, hydration is really, really important. So making sure that we are keeping our scalp hydrated. I know that sounds kind of strange, but the scalp needs that hydration. It strengthens, the hydration will strengthen our hair strands. So make sure that you're drinking enough water. And also the water is going to help absorb all of the essential vitamins and minerals that we're getting from our food. That way, when we absorb those vitamins and nutrients, that they're actually getting to where they need to go, which can help us, grow that strong, thicker hair. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about supplements. So supplements, what works and what doesn't. So when it comes to hair supplements, there's a lot out there. Let me know in the chat box if you've tried any hair supplements. Did you notice any difference? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? I know that hair supplements are very heavily marketed out there. You may see Facebook ads or come across different things in stores and all of that. So there's just a lot of information about hair supplements. Some of them I will say are helpful. Some of them I would say not so much. So I wanted to spend some time to really break down what actually works, what could be just hype, so to speak, and how to make sure that you're really choosing your supplements safely. Okay. So the first supplement, and you always, little disclaimer, you always, before trying any new supplement, please make sure that you are checking with your healthcare provider, because even natural supplements can interact with medications. They can alter lab results, and they can interfere just with certain conditions that you're experiencing. Everybody is different from person to person, and the only person that's going to understand your health history is, of course, the providers that you're working with. So always check with them first. So let's talk about smart supplements. So I call these smart supplements. These are the ones that can truly help us with our hair. First up, we talked about biotin earlier. This is going to help strengthen the keratin production in our hair, and that is the protein that actually makes our hair. So you can see how important that biotin is. Most people get enough from a balanced diet, but supplementing with biotin, it can be a really beneficial thing as well. Iron, we talked about iron before. Iron helps deliver oxygen to the hair follicles, which is essential for regrowth. Low iron levels are just such a common cause of hair shedding, especially for women. So as I mentioned earlier, I got my levels tested. I was very, very low, almost anemic low. And that the light bulb moment went off for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is why I'm, could be one of the reasons why I'm experiencing all of these hair issues. Zinc. So zinc is another important supplement. It is going to play a very key role in hair tissue repair and keeping those oil glands around our follicles really functioning properly. Vitamin D is going to help stimulate those hair follicles. It's often low in people that are experiencing hair issues. So if you are experiencing those things, it might be important to get those levels tested and checked to see where you're at. And then, of course, the omega-3s, they're the superheroes. They are going to help us reduce inflammation, and so that we can start to nourish the scalp and really support healthier hair growth. So next, I want to talk about what could be hype and what could be things that we may want to just skip. So there are lots of high dose biotin supplements out there on the market. And yes, we talked about biotin being important, but I want to point out that taking excessive amounts is not necessarily going to lead to more hair growth. Plus, it can interfere big time with test results. It can also, especially test results around the thyroid and test results around any heart function. So, taking just really high doses of something is not always the great thing to do. Collagen powders. So the thing with collagen powders, I love collagen powders. I drink collagen powder almost every single day. I like to put it in my smoothies. I like to drink it with some tea. Collagen powders are really good for skin and they're really good for joints, but the research is pretty limited when it comes to hair benefits and the direct impact that collagen has on your hair health. So your body, what your body does with collagen is that it breaks it down into amino acids. And amino acids are really good for our overall health, but it's really not the magic fix for hair loss. It's just very limited. And then lastly, we have those hair growth gummies. How many of you out there have seen these hair growth gummies on the market? I will say that many of those are really packed with a lot of sugar. They're packed with a lot of fillers, unnecessary things our body really can't do anything with or really needs to do anything with. And they just lack the sort of clinically proven nutrients that are really needed to support our health and most importantly for our hair regrowth. So my philosophy is hair growth gummies. they're not worth it. They tend to be all hype. So that is one thing you don't need to spend your hard-earned money on. Again, quick reminder, you want to make sure to always talk to your doctor, check with them, your healthcare provider, before you add anything into your new routine. Even natural supplements, I always point this out, natural supplements, something that we think is totally harmless, can interact with medications, or existing things that you have going on. So it really takes the right approach with supplements, and every one of us is so different. So it really takes working with your medical provider on choosing the right supplements. So I would like to give you a little bonus. These are some high quality, third-party tested hair growth supplements that I have found are really, really beneficial. And these are some brand names. So I personally take the Nutrafol Women's Balance because I'm over the age of 45. And these are clinically tested. They're physician formulated. So they're formulated by a physician. They're third-party tested for purity. They contain the biotin, but not too much biotin. They contain collagen and different adaptogens, saw palmetto, which also supports hair growth and reduces the stress-related hair thinning. So I personally use the Nutrafol. I've been using them for about 11 months now, so just shy of a year, and I have noticed a tremendous difference in taking these. I will say you have to be consistent with them. You want to make sure that you're taking them as directed and being very consistent. So even when I travel, I pack my supplements, Nutrafol supplements with me as well. The next one on the list that has had really good results is the VV Skull Professional. So VV Skull Professional, they contain an amino marine complex in their supplements, which contains some biotin, some iron, and some other essential nutrients for hair health. And they have been used in lots of clinical studies to support thicker, fuller hair. So you'll have to do some research on the VV Skull Professional. Thorn Research Biotin 8 is another good one. It is high quality. It is third-party tested. It's a great supplement with very clean ingredient profile. I see Jen commented here about Jordan Essentials Scalp Scrub Shampoo and Conditioner. It has helped her. Her sister takes the Weem hair, skin, and nail gummies. I'll have to write that down. I've never come across the Weem, but I definitely will look into those. Thank you for that recommendation, Jen. And then we have Pure Encapsulation. So I've used other supplements from Pure Encapsulations that are really great, but they have a Hair, Skin, Nails Ultra. It's a science-backed formula. It does contain biotin and silica and other antioxidants to help with hair strength and scalp hair health. And then we have iron and zinc supplements. For those with deficiencies, always check with your doctor first. You want to make sure that you get tested on your iron and zinc levels before you start any of these supplements. But Mega Food Blood Builder is a great one. It's a very gentle, whole food based supplement. And I see someone drawing on my screen, so I'm not sure who that is, but I can see someone drawing on the screen. I don't know if you all can see that. That's funny. I'm not sure how that happened, but I apologize for that. So we have the Mega Food Blood Builder is a really good one, and it has also the iron supplement. The Mega Food has it has vitamin C in it, which allows for better absorption. It's also third-party tested. It's the one that I personally use, so I wanted to recommend that one. Thorn, again, we have Thorn listed, Thorn Research iron. That one is a really high-quality, easily absorbed iron. It has minimal digestive side effects, so if you're someone who typically has a sensitive stomach when it comes to supplements, I highly recommend the Thorn one. That seems to work pretty well for people with dealing with the different side effects when it comes to your tummy and your stomach. And then lastly, Pure Encapsulations, again, recommended. They have a great Zinc 15. It's a third-party tested zinc supplement that supports our hair follicles, the function of the hair follicles, and it also just is a great supplement for supporting your immune system. And then we have our vitamin D and omega 3s. So remember, these are going to support your scalp health and the hair follicle function as well. Very, very important. The first one on the list is we have Nordic Naturals Ultimate Omega. So this is one that I've been using for quite some time. It has got a very high potency. It's sustainably sourced, which is important to me personally. It's a sustainably sourced type of fish oil that's third-party tested for purity, and it's also tested for heavy metals, which was really important when I was looking for an omega supplement. We also have Carlson Labs Wild Norwegian Cod Liver Oil. So my husband actually loves this one. We keep it in our refrigerator. That is a great source of omega 3s and vitamin D for scalp and hair health. And although my husband does not have vasculitis, he has noticed some hair thinning. So he really likes that one because you can just put a little of the oil in the spoon. And I think he gets I believe it's a lemon flavor. And I think has told me that it tastes like a lemon drop. So if that helps you out in kind of doing some research, if you're a person who loves lemon, you can give the Carlson one, give a look to that one and see what you think about that. And then lastly, we have Thorne vitamin D and K2, another high quality vitamin D supplement, which also includes the K2. That's going to help the absorption into your body and where it needs to go and just really kind of support your overall health. So that's kind of a rundown of the top supplements that are third-party tested. They've been researched and all of those things. Again, make sure you check with your healthcare provider before you start any of those and do some of your own research there, okay? I cannot get through this workshop without mentioning the role of stress in hair loss. This is a big one. We all know that stress affects our body, but it definitely affects our hair health as well. So stress-related hair loss is a very real thing. For those of us managing vasculitis, it makes an already frustrating condition or situation even more challenging, right? So I want to start with how stress contributes to hair shedding. So stress and shedding, what's the connection? When we experience prolonged stress, our bodies release higher levels of cortisol. Cortisol, we know, is the stress hormone, right? This is going to push our hair follicles into what is known as a resting phase. That means when the hair follicles are put into the resting phase, they stop growing. And then eventually they will fall out, okay? So it is a real condition. You can definitely notice, usually you'll notice the shedding right away within a few months after a big stressful event, or, I've had clients who have been diagnosed, with certain conditions, and usually after that diagnosis, that's when they start to notice these things, or when they're put on high doses of pharmaceuticals and medications, that is going to, push those hair follicles into the resting phase. For some of us, right? It doesn't happen with all of us, but for some of us, it can. The next thing is the stress and inflammation cycle. So, stress alone can cause us to have the shedding and hair issues. But when there's also something included like the inflammation that we have with vasculitis, when we're overly stressed, the immune system becomes very overactive, which leads to increased inflammation in the body. We kind of highlighted that earlier as we were talking about inflammation. We know inflammation with vasculitis is our ongoing challenge, right? And adding any type of stress on top of that is really going to disrupt our hair growth. It's just, unfortunately, it's kind of that frustrating loop, right? Where stress will worsen our inflammation And then our inflammation contributes to our hair loss, and then our hair loss contributes to more stress, unfortunately. And so when hair loss becomes another stressor, then that is going to be very emotionally difficult, right? It's completely normal to be frustrated. It's completely normal to, when I was going through my own hair issues, I was having a lot of anxiety because I didn't know where it was all going. I didn't know if I was going to continue to lose more hair, if my hair was going to continue to break off. And I'm a person who colors my hair. So I really had to cut back on coloring my hair, and it can create a lot of anxiety, especially for women too, where hair is so important to us and to our outward appearance and all of those things. So much of it is with our identity. So it's normal to have all of these feelings when we're dealing with this issue. And that's why we're here today talking about it. So I want you to know that you're not alone. We do have this wonderful community of support and, just these great opportunities to provide this type of education to the vasculitis community and beyond, right? So I also want you to know that stress-induced hair loss, it is frustrating. Vasculitis-induced hair loss is frustrating, yes, but it's often temporary. So it has taken me quite some time to get my hair back to a somewhat healthy place. And it just takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of trial and error and just really giving yourself some grace through the hair journey. When our stress is better managed, then we know that our hair can recover. So yes, we have to be mindful of what we put in our body as far as nutrients. We have to work with our healthcare providers to find some supplements that can support our hair growth. But then we also just have to be very mindful of the stress and the ways that we're dealing with our stress. So speaking of ways of dealing with stress, so some stress management techniques. I always like to, think of stress management more specifically as something that's kind of like doing the laundry. And what I mean by that is that if we don't do our laundry, it tends to pile up, right? It tends to get messy. It tends to get overflowing, and it's then you don't want to deal with it, right? And it's kind of the same way with stress. Stress management is a practice. It's something that we're always going to have to practice in life, because stress is going to be inevitable, right? We live on this planet where we're exposed to all types of experiences and situations and things thrown in our way at any given time. So we can't eliminate stress entirely, but what we can do, what we can control, is that we can help our bodies really handle it better. And when we do that, that in turn helps our overall health and our hair. I know that when I have stressful events or stressful life situations, that is when I typically will relapse, or I will have a flare of some sort with my vasculitis. So stress management is so important just to me personally. So I'm glad to be here to share kind of some of the things that we can do. So first and foremost is something so easy, and that is your breath. So your breath can be a great way to just center yourself and calm everything down. So deep breathing, some mindfulness techniques can really help to put the body in a relaxation response, because if you think about it this way, we can tell ourselves, oh, just don't be stressed, just relax, just calm down. We can tell our brain those things, but it's really our body that's listening, and it's our body that is in that fight or flight state. Our body is that's what needs to be put into that relaxed state, is the feeling in our body. So relaxation techniques, breathing, mindfulness, even just a few minutes of some breath work each day is really beneficial to just help regulate the nervous system. That's going to benefit our minds, our bodies, but it does help the hair follicles. It helps to, we talked about that resting phase, right? We don't want our hair follicles to go into that resting phase due to the impact of stress. So anything that we can do, the breath is always available to you, right? You're breathing right now. It's available to you. It is free. You can do it anytime, any place, anywhere. There are tons of great resources online. There are tons of great apps. I personally like the Calm app. It's Calm, C-A-L-M. They have some great meditations and mindfulness techniques there, but you don't need to download an app. You can also just do a quick YouTube search, and there's lots of great videos on there to kind of help you through your breath work. The next one is moving. So movement is really important to feel better, to help move the stress and the anxieties, all of those things out of the body, right? I don't know about you all out there listening, but I know when I go on even just a short walk around my neighborhood, I always feel so much better. I always just can diffuse a lot of that stress or anxiety that I might be feeling. So things like, a gentle walk, things like stretching, a good stretch is going to get those endorphins going, but it's going to help release those stress chemicals. Short walks are great for circulation, relieving a lot of the muscle tension. It's going to help lower those stress levels. We also know that from research, we know that movement increases blood flow to our scalp. Believe it or not, we know that it gets our heart pumping and it gets everything else, moving and grooving. But yes, it even helps to deliver oxygen and nutrients right to where we need it most when we're talking about our hair health, and that is right to the scalp. So gentle movement is definitely key. Lastly, you want to find a good support system. Stress feels a lot heavier when we're carrying it alone, right? It is just, makes everything else much more difficult. And hair loss is a very big emotional challenge. So connecting with others, whether that's through, therapy or a group therapy, or, finding a great community and organization like the great organization that we have here with the Vasculitis Foundation. They are going to provide a lot of reassurance. We, provide a lot of practical advice. We do these great workshops that you're all attending here now as part of this community. And I think that sometimes just knowing that you're not alone, you're not the only one that is experiencing, there's others there walking this journey with you of, trying to manage vasculitis and having these certain symptoms and things come up. I think it's so important to look for another support system outside of our medical professionals as well, because they are limited on time. They're there to talk to us about our medications and our treatment plans and all of those things. And, they, by no fault of their own, they don't have the time dedicated to us to be able to kind of talk through some of these more emotional aspects of vasculitis. And so making sure that we're managing our stress and our overall well-being. It's not going to reverse hair loss overnight, right? None of these things are a quick fix, but it's really a combination of things that can create those right conditions for our hair and our body to heal. And I see that Jennifer dropped in the chat. The Vasculitis Foundation offers our weekly virtual support group. So that is just a fantastic place to go connect with others, share stories, share resources, and, just be on this journey together. We're all in this together. And we're all here to support one another. Something that I love so much about the Vasculitis Foundation is that everyone is just so supportive and so empathetic and really here to, provide these resources and education so that we can, live the best quality life that we're meant to live, even while dealing with something like vasculitis. So next, I just want to talk about scalp care for healthier hair. So we often focus on our hair strands, right? The strands themselves, because that's what we see. But it really, really starts with a healthy scalp. So a healthy scalp equals healthier hair. So think of your scalp as soil for a plant, right? When it's well nourished, when plants are well nourished and they're hydrated and they're balanced, they're going to have a really good chance to grow and thrive. And that is the same thing with your health. It really needs to be well nourished and balanced. The way we do that, you want to choose your shampoos wisely. So gentle shampoos are really going to be best. I know that Jen dropped in the chat earlier about some shampoos and conditioners that she has tried, which is really fantastic. We'll have to check those out. But a lot of the drugstore shampoos are going to contain sulfates. They contain alcohols that strip your hair of really good beneficial oils. They can contain a lot of synthetic fragrances that strip away those natural oils. They can cause a lot of dryness and irritation. You really want to look for a gentle sulfate-free option that can really cleanse your hair without being really harsh. I see EJ dropped in the chat too. The Giovanni Tea Tree Triple Treat Shampoo is fantastic and gentle. EJ, I am a big fan of anything tea tree. I love that recommendation. I'm going to take a note on that one. I would love to look into that one as well. Thank you so much for sharing that resource. So be sure to choose your shampoos wisely. And I'm going to be sharing some shampoo recommendations as well. Basha dropped in the chat. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She has had good results with the Pure Biology. Yes, I have heard great things about that one as well. And I also want to point out too that washing your hair too often is going to strip it away of those natural oils that I mentioned are really important. And it can lead to a lot of dryness and frizziness, because what happens is that when you wash your hair too much and it strips away those oils, then your scalp is going to overcompensate, and sometimes it can disrupt your scalp's microbiome. So yes, your scalp, just like your gut has its own microbiome, your scalp has its own microbiome. So those things are meant to be there to help our hair health. So for most hair types, for most people, really shampooing your hair a few times a week is going to be just perfectly fine to really help maintain your moisture and keep your scalp in balance with the microbiome and just your overall hair health. Another great shampoo too that I have heard good things about is it actually is a drugstore brand. You can find it in Target and drugstores and Walmart and places like that. And that is the Neutrogena. It's T and then /SAL. I can't remember what those abbreviations stand for, but it's the Neutrogena T-SAL shampoo. I've heard really good things about that one. It really helps to break up a lot of buildup on your hair that can help with your hair health as well. So let's also talk about, yes, and I don't have the person's name, but Zoom user in the chat there has recommended rosemary oil, and that is definitely something that can be beneficial, especially when you're doing scalp massages, which we'll talk about here as well. So the lifestyle changes for hair restoration. And let's talk about scalp massage really quickly too, because now that you've dropped it in the chat to the Zoom user, rosemary oil, let's talk about scalp massage. So one of the easiest ways and most effective ways to support your scalp hair health is massaging your scalp for just a few minutes a day. This is going to boost the circulation in your scalp, and it's going to help deliver the oxygen and all the nutrients to your hair, to those hair follicles. You can just use your fingers if you're really good to give a good scalp massage. And there's also some scalp massagers that you can use to make it even easier. We'll talk about those in a bit. But you can also, as Susan from Bermuda has pointed out, thank you, Susan, for dropping your name in the chat. She is the Zoom user. As Susan has pointed out, you can use rosemary oil. So you could put a few drops of rosemary oil. You can mix it in with a carrier oil that helps carry the oil. I like to use argan oil. Rosemary, there's so many studies out there about rosemary and how it's been shown to support hair regrowth over time. So great recommendation from Susan from Bermuda. So let's talk about lifestyle changes for hair. So we mentioned earlier, hydrate. We have to hydrate. We also want to be sleeping, and that is going to help with the hair growth. So hair follicles need that hydration. I'm going to move my chat box out of the way so I can see the bullets here. Hydration, we know, we talked about that, is you want to aim for at least half your body weight in ounces of water a day. Typically, that's a pretty good measure to use for staying hydrated. We know that hydration is going to help the scalp and keep the hair well hydrated as well. And then sleep. So your body does its best repair work. If we're talking about repairing our hair, then we're going to need to sleep. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night is really beneficial. Something that I really like to use is a silk pillowcase. So I use a silk pillowcase to reduce breakage. So already throughout my journey with medication and all of those things, I've experienced a lot of breakage and dry and brittleness, almost as if my hair feels a little bit like straw. So those of you who have light hair or, have blonde hair, even brunettes, redheads, all of you, all the hair colors out there, you can feel when you feel your hair, if it feels that dryness, that brittleness, that kind of straw feeling. So what I do is I use a silk pillowcase. That you can also use a satin pillowcase, and that's just going to protect your hair from rubbing on a pillowcase, and it's just going to help prevent a lot of that breakage while you sleep. So that's just another thing, and I've got some recommendations for that. And number 2 is less heat, less stress on your hair. So if your hair is already fragile from medications, from, going through this vasculitis journey, you want to reduce the amount of heat styling that you're using. Chemical treatments, of course, are going to weaken it even more. I try to air dry my hair as much as possible, or at least air dry it enough to a point where I'm only using my hair dryer very minimally. I also like to use a heat protectant spray because I do color my hair, and that is going to help, reduce the impact of some of the things that we're doing to styling our hair. So heat protectant, if you're styling or using curling irons or things like that. I've also spaced out my hair color treatments. You can see my roots are pretty dark right now because I'm going on probably about 10 weeks now since I've had my hair colored. So I try to stretch it out about close to 12 weeks if I can, just to give my hair that time to recover. Another great alternative that I've been seeing a lot of buzz about is heatless curlers. So heatless curlers, which you can get on Amazon or Target, those places, those are a really great alternative to heat styling as well. I have not personally tried them, so I can't comment on them too much, but I've seen videos online and things like that of heatless curls or using braids to style. So my stepdaughter, she loves to braid her hair at night when it's just a little bit slightly damp, and then she has these nice waves in the morning, and that's one way she keeps her hair very healthy as well. And then number 3, of course, patience is key. We know that hair growth takes time. It doesn't bounce back overnight. Our hair grows in cycles. It grows about a ½ inch per month. So it's going to take several months to really see some good progress. For me, it took me about 9 months until I started to notice, wow, my hair is coming in a lot nicer. It's coming in a lot shinier. I don't have that dry brittleness as much as I used to. So you really just have to be gentle with it. Focus on your hair care. Focus on your, your scalp massages. Make sure you're eating that nutrient-dense diet, supporting our stress, make sure that we sleep, all of those things. And most importantly, just be gentle with yourself during this process. Your hair's on a journey, just like your body is on a journey, and it's part of you. It's who we are, and we have to be kind with ourselves through that process. Next, I know we're getting close on time, so I want to make sure I have time to share some of my favorite products here. And one of those is going to be the Opalex. Let me make sure I pull up my chat box here again, because I lost my chat box. There we go. Okay, so we have the Opalex number 4 and 5 shampoo and conditioner. This is a really great one that strengthens and repairs damaged hair. Now I want to mention too, these are just suggestions. You don't have to buy these exact products. There's plenty of great alternatives out there. These are just things that I've tried myself and have done my own research on. I tried to include products that fit all budgets as well. So you can take a moment, snap a photo, write them down. Again, we'll share the recording afterwards and all of those things so that you can go back and look at. So we have the Opalex. We have also the Ordinary. The Ordinary is a multi-peptide serum for hair density. So it's a lightweight serum that helps support hair thickness. I like to put a few drops in and just run it through my hair. I love to do this at night and then just pull my hair back in a braid or a low ponytail. And that just allows that serum to kind of work its magic overnight. The Max Soft Scalp Massager. This is fantastic. You can get this on Amazon. This is just an easy way to give yourself a nice scalp massage when you're in the shower. It feels really good too. I would say that the scalp massager is like a spa treatment for your scalp, right? It just feels nice. It can help de-stress, all of those things. And then we have red light. So I saw a comment in the chat. I don't have my chat box up just yet because I want to be able to see the products, but I saw someone mention about red light, and yes, the Cure laser cap system is an FDA cleared red light therapy option to help support hair regrowth as well. And then of course, Nutrafol, I'm a big fan of Nutrafol. I use them. They're clinically backed. They're physician formulated supplement for hair. There's tons of before and afters photos online and testimonials and all the things. Again, be sure to check with your medical provider. The Mason Pearson Boar Bristle Brush. So there's a lot of I would say imitators for the Mason Pearson brush out there, and they're all fantastic. Mason Pearson is a pretty pricey brush. It's pretty expensive. It's very high quality, but it helps to distribute those natural oils through your hair and promotes that healthy scalp as well. So I love to use the Mason Pearson brush. I actually purchased a small mini one. I just keep it in my bag. I travel with it, and I love to use it at night because it just helps to distribute everything through the natural oils. And if you're using rosemary oil, it helps to just coat everything in your hair strands. Again, I mentioned my silk pillowcase. This is by Slip. You can also find this on Amazon. This helps to reduce the hair breakage and the frizz while you sleep. Kristen S is another shine leave-in conditioner. It's great. It's doesn't have a very low chemicals in it, doesn't have the sulfates or any of the things that are going to damage our hair. It's really hydrating, and it also helps to detangle the hair so that you can reduce the breakage that way as well. And then Living Liberations is a scalp tonic. I don't know about you all, but I have never even heard of a scalp tonic until I started doing all of my research on hair. But this is a great blend of essential oils and different extracts designed to help stimulate and balance the scalp. So again, all of this will be available to you after the workshop. I want to throw in a bonus about our nail health. I don't know if you all have experienced the challenges of, having your nails go brittle as well, but that is one thing that I have noticed too from dealing with our vasculitis journey here is nail health. So nails, you can notice like whether they get brittle or they have those ridges on them or they peel. These are really a lot of times nutrient deficiencies, of course, medication side effects, the underlying inflammation, all of those things sort of contribute to that. And I want to point out that just like hair, yeah, Betsy said in the chat, bad nails. Yes, I would say, be gentle with your nails as well. Treat them just like hair. They're going to need moisture. Drink your water. I love to use a natural cuticle oil to prevent any, I used to get the splitting in my nails, and the cuticle oil is really good for that. Nutrient power for stronger nails. So nutrients are going to be the biotin, collagen. We know, collagen, like I said, I use my collagen powder. That's really beneficial for nail health. Iron, zinc, vitamin D, all of these super players play a role in good nail growth and resilience. And then, of course, just be gentle, just like your hair. Avoid any harsh nail treatments, excessive filing. Make sure you're using, acetone-free removers if you're painting your nails. All of those things can really weaken our nail health. So you want to just be gentle with those. And then make sure you're protecting your nails. Wear your gloves when cleaning. You can use, non-toxic nail polishes. I use a non-toxic nail polish that I find at Target. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to find the name. Use a glass nail file, not an emery board. Yes, that is such a great tip, EJ. Thank you for sharing that. There's so much gentler on your nails as well. Want to keep things healthy and strong when it comes to your nails too. So key takeaways for today as we wrap up, healthy hair is going to start from within. Nourish your body with the right nutrients, stay hydrated, really prioritize your overall well-being. Scalp care matters. So a healthy scalp is the foundation of strong hair. Choose gentle products, avoid harsh chemicals, stimulate with massage, or even just your fingertips or a scalp massager is going to be beneficial. Consistency is key. I can't stress enough that being consistent is just such a key thing when you're going through your hair journey. Make a routine. You don't have to do all of these things all at once, but find something that you can start with. Be patient with yourself. Really trust the process. Less stress, more growth. Manage your stress through mindfulness, movement, Vasculitis Foundation. All of our wonderful community events and support groups are there for you to support you through this process. And then make sure we're not over processing our hair. Try to limit styling, harsh treatments, prolong your hair coloring, as I mentioned before, I do as well. That's all going to be beneficial in protecting any further damage, okay? So final thought, be kind to yourself. Hair loss and hair issues, it's an emotional, frustrating journey. Yes, it is. But every little small step that you all can take, is going to be progress in the right direction. So celebrate even just the smallest little improvements. I mean, when my hair started to grow back and I could see that I had hair growth happening, I was so excited. I knew I was on the right track. Just trust with time, like anything else. Time, care, consistency, hair regrowth is possible, okay? So thank you all so much for being here today and joining me in this workshop session. I hope that today brought a lot of valuable information and practical tools for you to use. Thank you all so much for joining in the chat. And
Noelle, there's a few questions in the Q&A. I don't know if you saw them.
I'm so sorry. Yes, let's get some questions going.
Yeah, just want to
Thanks
Some
for
of
joining.
them I think you addressed, but there's a couple more. Can you see them or you want me to ask them? I can ask them.
Would you mind just
Yeah,
asking
no problem.
that I'm able to
Um,
answer because I'm not a
yeah,
medical,
yeah,
but yes.
yeah, exactly. This one might be one of those questions. Also wanted to know any suggestions for people on blood thinners who have restricted vitamin K. And who have the restricted
Oh,
vitamin K.
any blood, so any suggestions for people on blood thinners who have to restrict their vitamin K? Well, you want to just aim for really a steady intake. You want to be sure to work with your medical provider to choosing those low K vitamin foods that are still nutrient dense that are going to help your hair health. So things like fruits, apples, bananas, things of that nature, vegetables, cruciferous vegetables. Like I really love cauliflower and mushrooms and those types of things. Be mindful with the leafy greens because those are high vitamin K foods, right? So we want to be really mindful of those. Really start small with those and kind of see how you tolerate those. Be careful too with hidden places where vitamin K likes to kind of hide out. So there is vitamin K in green tea. So if you're a tea drinker, just be kind of more mindful with your green tea as well. And there are a lot of multivitamins out there with sneaky vitamin K in them. So make sure you're reading labels and things of that nature as well. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, and then there were a couple of questions on high dose biotin, which I'll try to kind of put together. One was what exactly you mean by high dose biotin, and then how much biotin should they be looking for in a vitamin?
So biotin is going to be very individual, and without kind of knowing your whole situation, it's hard to give specific doses. But things with high dose biotin are going to be like the things that are marketed as like the hair gummies, specific hair supplements on the market. A lot of times you'll find things on Amazon that are marketed towards hair growth, but they just contain really high levels of biotin. You just want to be careful with those. Read your labels to see kind of what the dosages are and do some comparisons. Look for one that has a lower um, amount of biotin in it, and then start with that first and then kind of see how you do with that and check with your medical provider, of course, when it comes to biotin.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Any tips for getting curls back if you've lost the curl?
oh, curls. I know when I was a little kid, I used to have very curly hair and unfortunately that's gone away. And when you're a small kid, you think, "Oh, these curls are so annoying." But then you get older and you realize, you didn't appreciate them back then. But air drying, I find that air drying a lot of the times and just using your hands. So be careful with towels. Towels can be rough on your hair. There are some great, I should have put this in my products, but there's some great hair towels that can absorb the water from your hair, but they're much more gentle than like a bath towel. And I always, when I dry my hair, my husband will get out of the shower and he'll dry his hair with a towel and he'll be really rough with it, right? We don't, as women out there in this workshop, we don't want to do that because that will rough up your hair and lead to damage. So you just want to gently dry your hair and pat it dry. And if you can get a towel that is specific for hair drying, that is going to be really beneficial. And there's some great ones on Amazon and other places like that you can do some research on and kind of look at the reviews and things like that. So
Two more quick questions. So I wanted to know if minoxidil is helpful.
I have not specifically tried it, but I do have clients and people who have. And one of my very best friends is a hairdresser in Arizona where I live, and she actually sells some products in her salon. I can't remember the name of them, but she says people have some great results with those as well. So yeah, that would definitely be something to look into.
Um, Lorraine said I have lumps and bumps on my scalp. Would that be caused by inflammation? They seem to be increasing too and are sometimes itchy.
Yeah, I would definitely check with your medical provider about that, but it does seem like something that would be, driven by inflammation.
And
Yeah.
last one, any suggestions for hair dryness with the thinning?
Hair dryness with the thinning. Yes, so that was my situation. Any other suggestions outside of what I've already suggested? Again, just being really gentle when washing the hair, when drying the hair, really limiting, and also, when we talk about products, um, we can think that, putting lots of products on our, hair oils and this and that and shampoos and conditioners, sometimes less is best. Sometimes all you need is a gentle shampoo and, try to air dry as much as possible. I like to pull my, if you have longer hair, I like to pull my hair back when I sleep. That way it's not getting roughed up when I sleep as well. I mentioned the silk pillowcase, things like that. So really just being, treat your hair very gently, whatever that looks like, right? Just trying to protect it in the best way possible. And when I'm out in the sun, so in Arizona, of course, we're a very sunny climate. I do a lot of outdoor activities, walking and hiking and things like that. I always wear a baseball hat. The sun is really harsh here in my climate, and I pull my hair back and I tuck it under a hat, or I'll wear one of those big brim hats because I like to protect from sun damage as well. But wearing a hat is really good to protect your hair from the harsh rays of the sun, because that can really dry out our hair and strip it of the natural oils as well. I did see someone had sent a message in to me as well. I don't know if they meant to send it directly, but how much protein, how does protein play a part in our hair growth, and what is a good amount? So, it's going to be, again, it's so individual because everyone is different weight, everyone's different height, different activity levels, and just overall health. But a good rule of thumb is about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight for the average adult. But again, those are going to be varied depending on, if you're recovering, if you're in remission, if you're in active, flares or vasculitis, all of those things. So again, it's just going to be very individual based on kind of where you're at. So hopefully that helped as well. Yes,
Thank you
the
so much.
yeah, that's a great comment, Amelia, as well. A hair cap and the silk cover. And yes, in the headrest of the car. I love that tip, Amelia. That's such a great tip as well. Because we don't think that we're laying our head back on certain things, our headboards in our vehicles, or even the headboard in our bedroom, or even laying, sitting in bed at night reading a book or something like that. If we're rubbing on our hair, that is going to contribute to more breakage as well. And playing with our hair. So I'm always, trying to remember, we don't want to be twirling our hair or playing with our hair, because that's going to lead to breakage as well. So those are all my tips. I could talk forever about hair health because I'm so passionate about it. If you all have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me. My information is on, I believe, the Vasculitis website. And of course, we'll get an email out. And Jennifer, I'm assuming you'll take the webinar and distribute that out for the recording and for everybody who wants to kind of go back and look at everything.
Yep.
Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful weekend and happy hair growing.